at this. And look at that
That was so cute, though. That was so adorable.
smile. That's not normal. You see, from
Why is that not normal? Huh? She's. Did you look at the human?
the
They look
first
like
moment
that.
we see her, she's presented as ultra powerful, consumed by revenge, and somehow always right. And that's it. That's her personality in episode 1, and much
Oh, is she a Mary Sue though? Hi, welcome to the castle. Today we're gonna watch some anime content. Imagine a VTuber without anime content. So today's video will be about why Maomao from the anime the I can't say I said it earlier, man. The Apothecary Diaries. Yes. Works and Hollywood female leads fail. So I didn't watch the anime, but it seems like it's more of a character portray instead of just the whole anime in by itself. Let's see what this is about. I hope you have a lot of fun. See you in a bit. So here's the video. The maker's name is Dumbo. Very cute name. Let's see what Maomao and the whole comparison with Western media female protagonists is about. Yes.
Western female protagonists are rated 30% lower than male leads. And if they want to fix this, they should take notes from Maomao. So what makes Maomao work while Western media keeps
First of all, that's such a cute name. I'm a little bit jealous.
getting it wrong? Anime has never been afraid of female leads, and for the past year, Maomao from the Apothecary Diaries has been one of anime's most fun, independent, and well-loved protagonists.
Wait, did she just slap the girl?
Diaries has been one of
she
anime's
did.
most fun, independent, and well-loved protagonists, with shockingly minimal fan service. But it's not just Maomao.
Minimal fans. I like that. Wait, the anime blew up without fan service? Is for real?
It's how she fits into her world, and that's
Yeah.
what I call the Maomao effect. And to really understand why she works so well, let's break it down into 4 key points.
Okay. Personality and depth.
You know how some protagonists just feel different?
Yeah.
Well, Maomao is one of them. She's a poison-loving, sharp-witted gremlin who got kidnapped and forced to work in Hell on Earth, a
Oh.
place called the Inner Court, where
That is so big. Holy moly. Is it based on a real place? Just asking.
countless emperors, concubines scheme, backstab, and do other mean girl things at each other. And somehow
Oh boy, it's a whole Mean Girl series. It's like I said, I didn't watch it. Don't hate me.
she's thriving. The Apothecary Diaries itself is a story of mysteries and unexpected twists in the Inner Court,
okay.
and how Maomao, using her apothecary skills, sharp wit, and sometimes very questionable skills, solve those cases that she just for some reason keeps getting swept into. And she does that for one noble purpose:
Okay.
to not get fired.
To not get fired. I mean, she was kidnapped. Maybe there's more about it, no? So he said she was kidnapped and then forced to work there. Probably there's more than just not to get fired.
If I had to describe Maomao, she's like a puzzle. The more you break her, the more sides of her you see. That sounds really wrong, but I'm gonna keep it that way. And no episode shows is better than episode 4. So normally, Maomao keeps a detached whatever face. She doesn't really want to stand out and usually plays ignorant. But in episode 4, she's ordered by the emperor himself to nurse
Ooh.
concubine Lihua back to health. Lihua at that time had just lost her child and was on the brink of losing her will.
Oh, I think I saw something about that and someone poisoned her, no? I think I didn't watch it, but I think someone from her inner circle poisoned that woman there. I think it was that. Also, I have a question for the people that watch the anime. Is the manga good? Because I'm not sure if I have enough time for watching the anime, but reading a chapter or 2 sometimes would be doable. Is the manga like the same?
To live.
Important question.
Maomao herself doesn't have a great impression on Lihua, but this is the emperor's order. But just because it's the emperor's order doesn't mean other people will make it easy.
Yeah.
Especially those prideful attendants of
Look how many there are. God.
Lihua. Maomao practically faced bullying. but not for long. Because soon enough, Maomao realizes that Lihua's attendants
Oh.
are still using lead-based cosmetics on a currently bedridden Lihua, deadly and illegal. And Maomao snaps.
Oh. There's
Maomao
the
drops
slap.
all the nice act, the usual deadpan expression is gone, and straight up slap one of Lihua's attendant.
Man,
Unfortunately, Lihua can still be saved, and then
what a character.
using everything at her disposal, Lihua gets back to health. But she doesn't stop there. Realizing that Lihua is
Oh.
actually kind and wise, she
Yeah.
also helps her reclaim her place in the Emperor's eyes.
That
And
is
by that
nice.
I mean she gives Lihua bedroom advice, education in the most practical way to the most suitable candidate. That's Maomao for you. This episode perfectly sums up Maomao. She's not just skeptical and guarded all the time. She has heart, humor, and moments where she's outright terrifying.
That looks so good. Holy. That looks really nice. Very impactful. Very impactful scene.
And that's one of the things that makes her really fun to watch. And now let's look at the opposite side of the spectrum. And
Okay.
unfortunately,
The
I
Western
have
media.
one name in mind. Galadriel. She's actually insane. No way she's mentally okay. Just look at this. And look at that
That was so cute though. That was so adorable.
smile. That's not normal. You see, from
Why is that not normal? Huh? She's Did you look at the human?
the
They look
first
like
moment
that.
we see her, she's presented as ultra powerful, consumed by revenge, and somehow always right. And that's it. That's her personality in episode 1, and much
Oh, is she a Mary Sue though? I mean, aside from her looks, let's take away that because that's not fair. Like we can't compare an actress to an anime character. But if she's a Mary Sue, which is like always right, powerful, never makes a mistake, doesn't have like a, let's say, from dishwasher to hero kind of thing. But I think I didn't watch enough from that to know that. But maybe he will talk about it.
later, it's still the same. Her hobby is being intense, self-serious, and being better than literally everyone, especially men. And I kid you not, it's always men. You know the Zlatan Ibrahimovic meme? That's Galadriel. She's right, and if she's wrong, then the world is wrong. And apparently the world will stop spinning if that means making Galadriel right. And the worst part is this. Even when there's an obvious opportunity to be interesting or nuanced, she just goes, nope. Let me do this horse pose instead. Seriously, who thought that was a good idea? And you know when I said Galadriel always right? Yeah, let's talk about competence and realism.
Earned and given. How do I think about Galadriel after this portrait? I mean, I can't remember watching it, so I have the same standpoint as with Maomao that I don't know what it is fully about. But what I noticed though, like when the creator Dumbo was talking about Maomao, it was more respectful, was more curious, with curiosity behind, than the voice of tone, a tone of voice. I can't speak today. And with Galadriel, it was more like funny making. Don't know what to think about that. Well, let's see. Earned or given versus given.
Talking about competence, we love the tension and release of earned success. But Maomao looks like she's smart and crafty right from episode 1, like she's an OP protagonist or something. So what makes it more acceptable? Maybe you'll get it if I give you a glimpse of Maomao's backstory and how it perfectly matches her competence, even to a more unique points. Maomao was raised by an apothecary named Luoman, her adoptive grandfather. Luoman is a brilliant mind. He just really sucks at marketing, so Maomao grew up dirt poor, despite their skills. But Maomao's childhood was even stranger than that. For starters, Maomao was literally born and raised in a high-class brothel called the Fair Degrees House. Before
Okay.
Luoman adopted her, she grew up around the manager, the madam, and the top courtesans there. I know, eventful childhood. What's great is how the story shapes Maomao based on those facts. I mean, let's not talk about the obvious. There are 4 unique things here. First, freckles. They're fake. She paints them herself so she won't attract unwanted attention in the pleasure district. Or how, too,
Oh.
she's also really good on how to bargain, strategize, and manipulate her way out of trouble, especially against men. Her background also explains her hilarious defensiveness around Jinsey, a pretty boy who's far too used to charming women. Well, after all, she's watched all the best courtesans empty even the richest men's wallets. And there's also the Lihua's case. Nightly knowledge. She's so good at it that she held a lecture of it. Come on, she grew up in a pleasure district. And much of this are actually established early in the story, some from episode 1. So
But do you see, like, with a lot of respect is being talked about Maomao. So I wonder how that will shift again when we go back to Galadriel. Because it doesn't feel neutral.
and Mama effortlessly solved mysteries using her apothecary knowledge, street smarts, and occasionally really questionable tactics, it feels right. But what happens when a character doesn't have that realistic foundation? Ray.
Wait, we don't even use the same character?
Ray, unfortunately, represents one of Hollywood's biggest protagonist problems. From watching Ray is often treated like a self-insert character, basically a blank slate viewers are supposed to project into. Not only because her background is basically non-existent for so long, it's also because Ray feels almost immune to real consequences. Sure, sometimes she messes up, but does it really matter? Nope. Everything's gonna be fine with Ray. And this isn't just Ray, by the way. Galadriel suffers from the same issue with consequences. She does awful, needlessly mean things, but always getting away unscathed for some reason. The writers seem terrified of giving them real consequences, and that's why these characters feel empty. They're going to be fine anyway. Mamo, on the other hand, gets a murder case wrong once, and it's not like she's wrong, she's just a bit late, and immediately pays a heavy price. She gets smacked in the face, has to accept help from someone she really doesn't want to, injured by a massive falling ornament, and the only reason she avoids execution is because she ultimately saved the murder target. Her consequences are real, and they matter. That's exactly why we care. But even with
Interesting.
personality, realism, and consequences covered, there's one final piece that wraps it all up and makes Momo stands out. It's something that I call the Momo effect. And yeah, it has to do with agency, okay? Talking about agency in the Apothecary Diaries might seem simple, because I mean, this is Maomao, a capable personality. But when you look at the storytelling perspective and the psychological perspective, it has more nuance than it seems. In storytelling, agency refers to how much control a character has over their decisions and story arc. So basically, a character with strong agency means they shape the plot instead of just passively reacting to it. But in psychology, agency is the ability to act intentionally, to set goals, anticipate outcomes, and believe you have meaningful control over your actions. Now, if you ask, okay, why is this important? If we're strictly talking about this topic, it's because having agency, believing that your choices matter and influence outcomes, is incredibly rewarding. It aligns deeply with our innate desire for control. So let's try apply this to Momo. And this is when you can actually question Momo's agency. So from a storytelling perspective, she didn't even voluntarily enter the inner court. And Momo is, in the bigger picture,
she was forced to, like in the beginning, but then didn't want to get fired. This was feels a little bit off.
a high-functioning pawn.
Yeah.
Mostly Jinxi's pawn. Jinxi throughout the story throws Momo into cases whether she likes it or not. Yet, if we look at it psychologically, does Momo feel powerless? Even though she doesn't always have options, she uses her own methods and approaches. Basically, she makes each mission her own, approaching problems truly as Momo. And this subtle yet crucial distinction gives her psychological agency, which doesn't really matter in this context because, well, it so happens that Galadriel also has a strong agency. And look what people think of her. Watching Galadriel is boring and funny for all their own reasons, but the thing is, if we only look at how a character affects a plot, I mean the plot serves Galadriel. So what's the difference? Okay, to answer
I understand that point. I didn't say anything. I just wanted to look for now. I understand the point that a character or a main character of a series has to impact the story in some way. But like Mao Mao is is playing in a big world. I will not take that away. But the whole storytelling is specifically for her. The problem with Galadriel, or like the whole lore of Lord of the Rings, is so big. Even though she is a very important character, there are a lot of other important characters as well. So it doesn't give the same, let's say, start points to compare the characters properly. I know it is about storytelling, but if you specifically compare the characters and you compare the story of the one character with the other, but the universes are so massively different, because in Lord of the Rings, it's not about one specific character like in Mao Mao. In Mao Mao, it's about her and her journey and her problems. And even though, yes, Galadriel is the main character of the series, it's playing in such a big lore and big universe that making her, even though she is powerful and everything, but making her so vastly different than the lore itself was told from the movies, for example. Like if you would make a Galadriel series in the same style as Mao Mao, it would not fit anymore into the Lord of the Rings lore. So it has a complete different setting where it has to fit in, and I think this is what the creators try to consider it as well, that it fits the criteria of the lore and what the original author had intended with the characters. And for Mao Mao, it's completely about her, and of course she has like more colors, she has more character, because it's just about her and not about the whole universe that is coming with her in that regard. I hope I transported it understandably.
After this, let's think of gaming. Okay, bear with me here. Let's take Elden Ring for example. Elden Ring
Mm-hmm.
is addictive because lots of things, but one of the most blatantly obvious reason is not because they only provide agency, but it's because they test your agency and they make you work on it. You're not guaranteed
Mm-hmm.
victory. They also offer you freedom to decide
Mm-hmm.
how to approach stuff so that you have more control. And
Mm-hmm.
with both of these, when you actually achieve the win, heck,
Mm-hmm.
even in the journey to achieve the amount of actual agency needed
Yeah.
creates a huge wave of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Without genuine setbacks, challenges, consequences, characters risk becoming empty power fantasies. And
Mm-hmm.
sadly, anime is filled to the brim with these characters. Momo, on the other hand, she doesn't constantly fight for survival, but she experiences meaningful struggle.
But she fights for not getting fired. Maybe she will be on the streets when she gets fired. I'm not really sure.
And moments of vulnerability, rich enough emotionally and practically that lots of
Mm-hmm.
people want to stand with her. Agency is such a central factor in people's lives. You can practically see it everywhere. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally the spice of life. Without it, you don't even feel alive. Okay, back to the topic. This
Mm-hmm.
continuous tension between challenge and triumph is what I call
Mm-hmm.
the Maomao effect. So the question is, why Maomao? Because the
Mm-hmm.
setting of the Apothecary Diaries itself embodies the opposite of agency, an anti-agency environment. It's a world where even minor mistakes can lead to severe punishment,
Yeah.
even execution, where even Mao Mao casually acknowledges the very real threat of being sold if he loses her job. Look, in fact,
See, she has something more than just losing her job. That is that information was important at the beginning, to be fair.
most commoners in this world don't even have the basic agency of literacy. And this
Mm-hmm.
stark contrast makes Mamo's subtle but consistent assertion of control especially
Mm-hmm.
powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Full agency without meaningful personality or depth is just lame for a character. I mean, who's watching solo leveling for the nuance and intricate character development of Sang Jinwoo? I think people just want to goon on Gina.
I mean, you like what you like. It's not fair that you take away something that people like Just because you don't like the storytelling of solo leveling doesn't mean that others are not allowed to, or that they're gooners for that character. That doesn't make that much sense.
And hey, if you just want a goon, Gyokyu exists, bro. And don't forget, Ado, Lihua, Pyrin. I can't even show Pyrin because the budget. Western
Mm-hmm.
female protagonists are
Hmm. I'm not quite sure what to think about the video, to be honest. It is okay to not have satisfying videos. Um, it is also okay to fangirl for a character in a series and try to give it more purpose or more meaning. But you can also rip apart and make an essay about the most boring character and just decorate it nicely to fill it out and make it more understandable. Yes, Galadriel is a kind of awkward character, but she fits into the whole thing. She fits into the role she had to be for the whole lore of Lord of the Rings. So comparing that is a bit difficult. And the other comparison was with the character of Star Wars, right? The girl. Where is it? There. I don't even remember if I watched it. So, but I mean, I know that the more recent Star Wars movies overall were not the greatest. Of course, the storytelling of Asian and Western stories are totally different because they also cater a different audience. Um, hmm. I'm not quite sure what to think about it because it isn't for me personally. Okay, this is for me personally, and it is okay to not agree with something. Um, the examples were used unfairly, but then of course it would not be like let me make a very very big difference between Maomao and Galadriel, for example, because you can't just compare it. It's very very difficult. I understand that you want to, and I understand that an anime fan, especially for like a specific series, really wants to point it out how cool the series is, and I get that, and that is okay, and that is valid. But for example, if a huge fan of Galadriel and Lord of the Rings thinks this series is the greatest thing on planet, that also should be valid. I don't see why we have to fight over that because first, it's not real characters. The storytelling has a totally different style. We had to, in that case, we need to see an anime character and a Hollywood or like Western character that have similarities but are executed badly. This would be something where you can see a good difference in different storytelling. Because you technically need the same story told by Asian, the Asian, or like made for the Asian market and made for the Western market. And then you could compare it properly. But this is, I mean, I don't know both of it. So, but from what I saw, okay, this is the standpoint I have. I don't know anything of it, so I just can't rely on that video. It made me feel that the person Dumbo is a huge fan of Maomao, which is great, but that doesn't give the right to say those characters are super bad or whatever. Probably some Lord of the Rings and Star Wars fans will come over and shit on me now, but I have to work with the video that I just watched. Relax. Okay? Relax. I think it's a well-made video overall, like in terms of editing and like the style, but the examples feel a bit weird to me. And also like why picking on her facial expressions, or you know, why picking on that? Because it's a human. You can't compare a human to an anime character. That doesn't work. That doesn't work at all. But yeah. That is for today. I hope you let me know what you think about it. To be honest, because I didn't watch it, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know how you felt about the video. Maybe you know something that I don't know, and I am open to be corrected. So please help me out here. For now, I wish you a lovely day. Please be safe outside, and I see you on the next time. Bye bye.